We'll go ahead and call the City of Peru Common Council meeting for February 4th, 2019 to order. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Torrance and then invocation by Pastor Brent Wedding.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your goodness and your mercy, and we thank you for this people that are here. They're here because they're concerned about the city. They're serving our city, and we thank you for this gathering. We pray that you would bless this meeting, bless the city council, all of those that are working and serving our city in the many different capacities. And Lord, this week we heard the news of Square D closing, and people are upset and worried about that. Lord, we trust you, and we ask you to bless this city and favor us and show us your glory through this. Lord, we know that you are our provider, and we're asking you to bless our economy. We're asking you to bring industry to this city. Bless our businesses. Bless those employees that are affected by it. We lift them up before you, and we ask you to just take care of this situation, and that your good and your glory would shine through it all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Brent. Roll call.
Holland.
Here.
Guston.
Here.
Torrance.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Allie.
Here.
Langwell. Janice in Florida.
I know.
Krauskoff. Levitt.
All right. All members except for Councilwoman Langwell are present. Next, we'll have the reading and correcting of the journal.
We need to correct the minutes. It should be January 7th, 2019.
Okay. I have corrected it on mine, but I will note that you said that.
Move we suspend the rules and dispense with the reading and correcting the journal of January 7th, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Krauskoff, second by Councilman Guston, to suspend the rules and read and correct the journal for January 17th, 2019.
7th.
I'm sorry, what?
January 7th,
January 7th,
2019.
2019. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have communications.
Cheryl?
Okay, well, you can tell it's after Christmas because I don't have much to report for the Peru Civic Center for January 2019. We had a total of 31 guests, 10 meals served. Total for meals was $134. Rent was $60, catering $57. Total back to the city was $45.55. So hopefully these numbers will increase each month. That's my report for this month.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
All right. Unfinished business. We have nothing under unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. Under new business, we have Ordinance 1, 2019.
Ordinance 1, 2019, an ordinance for additional appropriations.
Move we consider ordinance 1, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Krauskoff and seconded by, I'm sorry, was that Councilman Alley? To consider Ordinance 1, 2019. Roll call.
Holland.
Yes.
Guston.
Yes.
Torrance.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Allie.
Yes.
Krauskoff.
Yes. Come back next month.
Next, we have Ordinance 2, 2019.
Ordinance 2, 2019, an ordinance to vacate an alley in the city of Peru.
Move we consider ordinance 2, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Krauskoff and seconded by Councilwoman Lee to consider Ordinance 2, 2019. Roll call.
Holland.
Yes.
Guston.
Yes.
Torrance.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Allie.
Yes.
Krauskoff.
Yes. Move we adopt ordinance 2, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Krauskoff and seconded by Councilwoman Lee to adopt Ordinance 2, 2019.
Who's here to talk about this?
Is it our alley?
We have, yes,
It's,
property owners right there. Yep. On both sides of the alley. And I can if you want.
Microphone and speak about it.
Is this within the 2
2
mile?
mile, yes, and they were denied. Denial came through council January of last year, and now we're bringing it back because the county has gravelled the alley all the way through, which was the reason for the denial last time. So the county has taken care of it.
The county stepped up and took care of it.
A year later.
Well, Dave went to 16 meetings with the county
There you
since
go.
we left here last year.
So there is
He was
access.
kind but
Yes.
persistent.
Good for you.
There's no utility problem. They have also acquired the other piece of property on the other side of this alley. So now this would actually run directly through their property, so
Right.
they've jumped through all the hoops.
So the access is there now?
Yes, they are not, the other property owner on the other side of the east-west alley is not landlocked anymore.
Okay.
That's what you're asking.
That was a concern last year.
Right.
Yes.
And they were aware of this ordinance
Yes,
tonight?
He's actually not there anymore. He was sent notice. He was sent his letter to be able to appear, but I don't believe that business is there anymore. No, it's a vacant building now.
It's not there anymore, okay.
Got it for sale, I believe, right now.
Is this what, a metal shop or something?
It was taxidermy.
Okay, that was the big issue last year, was that he didn't have access to it. And now that they've completed the east-west alley, the county has taken care of it. I think that eliminates the issues. Anybody have any comments down here? Comments here?
Persistence pays off.
Anything further from the audience? And Peru Planning Commission gave it their approval, fellas?
She went there unanimously, sir.
6-0.
Okay. Okay. Okay, roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Geston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Alley?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes.
And the motion passes.
Very much.
As long as all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed, we're okay, so.
Next, we have ordinance 3, 2019.
Ordinance 3, 2019, an ordinance to amend Ordinance 27, 2018.
Move we consider ordinance 27 ordinance 3, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff and second by Councilman Guston to consider ordinance 3, 2019. Roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Geston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Alley?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes. So we have already approved these, we just need to do some housekeeping, is that what we're doing?
There's most of the items on this was a difference between calculations from, because Tish and I both work on the budget and the wage ordinance. I believe a lot of the smaller pieces are where I came up with a number that was slightly different than Tish's, so it's just maybe like $1 off or some pennies off, and we wanted to make sure that they matched. The two things that are actually of substance that changes with this is we changed the maintenance person, Nathan Correll, who does the maintenance in this building. He was salaried last year. I was going to move him to hourly for this year, and it's caused a lot of problems for us. And we said, let's just go back to the way it was before with the salary. So it's moving it back to what it was the same last year. The other thing that's actually of substance that's changing in this is in the building department, we had 2 part-time mowing crew people in the ordinance. And what we're doing is both of those people are budgeted for, I believe, 30 weeks. And what we want to do is shorten one of those 2 positions to 26 weeks and raise the wage for one of those 2 positions from $10.30 to, I believe, $12, so that we have kind of a supervisor position and more of a regular labor position. We have a good person that was worked with us last year. We wanted him to come back this year, and he was weighing whether or not to come back, and we asked him if we increased his pay some, if he'd be able to come back again, and he said he would. So this is to try to incentivize one of our better employees to come back and continue working. So those are the 2 things that were a real change, besides some just cleaning up between 2 different calculations, the same
That
numbers.
other problem was between 6 and a 7. That took a while to find that.
Yeah, me too, as you can see. But our payroll clerk upstairs, she definitely caught every one of those, so.
You said the other person was reduced to 26 weeks, this is 24. Did you
Is it,
misspeak?
okay, I'm sorry, I must have misspoke. I knew that they reduced the weeks to make up for the pay difference,
24 weeks.
so it stays the same amount in the budget.
Okay. I move we adopt ordinance 3, 2019.
Second.
We already did it.
We considered it, need to adopt.
Consider?
We've already considered it, now I
Right.
move to adopt it.
Right,
And you seconded, right?
yes.
Okay. It's moved by Councilman Crosskoff and seconded by Councilman Lee to adopt ordinance 27, 2018. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
ordinance 3, 2019. I'm reading last year's.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Holland,
Yes.
Geston,
Yes.
Torrance,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Alley,
Yes.
Krauskopf.
Yes.
The motion passes. Next, we have Resolution 2, 2019.
Resolution 2, 2019, a resolution for appropriation transfers.
Move we consider Resolution 2, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff and seconded by Councilman Alley to consider ordinance 2, 2019. Roll call.
Holland,
Yes.
Geston,
Yes.
Torrance,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Alley,
Yeah.
Krauskopf.
Yes. Move we adopt Resolution 2, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff and seconded by Councilman Guston to adopt Resolution 2, 2018. Any,
Just move money around so the balances are correct?
Yes. As soon as this is okayed, I can go ahead and close out 2018.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Roll call.
Holland,
Yes.
Geston,
Yes.
Torrance,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Alley,
Yes.
Krauskopf.
Yes.
And the motion passes. I believe that is all that is on our agenda.
Anything further from the assembled masses?
I've got a question.
Okay.
All right, so when the Peru utilities came in and we were going to do they were presenting the new meters, right?
The new what?
Water meters.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. And they said, well, you can get online, you're going to be able to track your meters and all that stuff. There was something that came up, and I didn't have time before this meeting, when I thought of it, to go back and look through the minutes and see if anybody remembers what it was that they were offering. They were going to get pricing and offer to everyone something to do at their house relative to the meter.
That was the
They could
lead
read it.
line. When they
Yes.
replaced the meter at the pit, if they discovered that the line from the pit to the house, which is the customer's responsibility, they were going to notify the customer of it. They were going to get quotes to see if they could find a contractor who would, at this price, throughout and just
Yes.
get done. And I know with the Okra grant, we have replaced some of those already. So,
Okay.
through grant money, but I'm trying to remember the actual requirements of which ones we actually, I believe that had to do with the SRF loan and the replacement of the water mains and all the upgrades.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily sure that was for the meter itself, but I know they were going to,
At least for the lines coming in the house.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's not for everyone, obviously, because that'd be a lot, millions to do every residential customer potentially.
But everyone that they presented the issue with, that they found that there was a lead line going into the house, they did contact
They
the
did.
owner and offer them?
As far as I know, yes. I would ask Josh or Jamin specifics. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know specifics.
Well, I'm really glad your memory's better than mine.
I know.
Because I knew there was something there, and I just couldn't remember what it was.
He wasn't sleeping during the meeting.
That's very possible.
Would you like, I can get a hold of them, ask them to give some information about that.
Yeah.
I also have a question regarding that. They stated that the homeowner would be able to read and see where they are water-wise.
Right.
Have they done anything towards that?
That I
I've not
don't know.
heard anything.
I know the portal, they're still getting all the information in the portal together and finalized before they can actually release it. They don't want to release it and then everyone have problems with it and then be answering phone calls every day, but there's still some meters that needed to be installed, last I had heard, which I believe they were still like 90-some% finished, and that would have been about a month ago last I knew, so.
So they are
Getting
still in the
close, yes.
process of doing that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw last week, or last meeting, they had for work, some finish up work that needed still done.
Yeah, that's not the meter, so that's.
Okay.
Yeah, the Dykeman Excavating, who's doing all the construction on the roads, replacing the water mains, they asked for an extension, and the utilities board granted that due to the weather, and they're getting close as well.
So I
Awesome.
guess when it gets there, they'll come and explain to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, that's just, okay.
Wish they'd have done that last
you.
year. My water softener decided to go haywire.
Sooner than.
$1,100 worth of water
Oh, my goodness.
because we didn't have that meter.
That happened to me
I'm glad
twice.
we're doing it.
If there's a leak, the utilities can still detect that, and they will let the homeowner know. They've discovered quite a few leaks on the homeowner's end because of the constant flow, but it's just not up to where the homeowner can log in themselves at this point. But yeah, the utilities get constant notification on that, so they've helped quite a few people out.
Good.
Twice for you?
Yeah, that happened to me twice. 1,300 the first time and 800 the second time.
Did they try to adjust any of that, Tom?
Nope.
No?
It's okay.
They'll put you on a payment plan, or you can pay it off monthly, which does help.
I tried that, they said nope.
They must not like you, Tom, man.
It's all right, we paid the bill. All right.
Anything further? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I saw on the agenda, and I was here 4 years ago, and I just happened to be here and it came up, about the SRO officer. Is there city taxpayers' money going to pay for the school's SRO officer? How does that work?
And actually, Chief Meeks, I think, knows the history of that better than I do, because it originated from when we actually had a city officer who was at the schools, and then when we no longer had a police officer at the schools, we then offered to pay them to help them provide the security, and then it's gone from there. But that's, I don't know if anybody else can answer that more fully.
So is that, because that said SRO officer, I don't know, 30,000, you went so fast, I don't know if you took a vote on it, or, so is that, and I'm all for it. But when you start, and I mentioned this last time I was here, when you start missing two different taxing things, see, in my situation, I'm in District 5, I pay city taxes, but my school taxes go to Mechanical. And I'm awful, I mean, I sub at Peru, I'd love it that there should be an officer in every building, at all schools. But when you start taking money out of city taxes and giving it to school taxes, I mean, when you give them the money to Peru schools, I can't even go in there and have a legal or stand to go voice my opinion or vote for their decision makers. Where my neighbors in District 5, many of them have kids that go to Mechanical, and if there's money available, I mean, did the school come and ask for that money or the city just gives it? Can Mechanical come in and ask for some of that money since I'm in city, I pay city taxes, but I'm in Mechanical School District, so I'm paying Mechanical school taxes. I mean, if it's safe for everybody, I mean, and plus there's Peru kids with school choice now that live downtown Peru that actually go to Mechanical. And I don't know what happens on the north end and if there's an overlap like that, but I didn't know. I mean, maybe he might know, but maybe the Mechanical doesn't want the money, but if there's money available to do that, keep kids safe, that might help on Mechanical school taxes. So I didn't know where I'm not against it. I mean, it just seems like the school should be covering, I mean, I think the police should cover getting the kids there safely on the streets and getting home. But when you start putting them in, then you start mixing taxes and voting and things like that. It doesn't, I'm not here to cause problems, but, so if McConaughey wanted money, could they come in and, or North Miami, if they pay taxes, could they come in and ask for?
They can ask for whatever they want.
So where do they
It's a
come?
very small portion, you'd have to do the math and figure out what that portion is for kids that go to Mechanic-Wall schools compared to what lives in that district that pays. Maybe put math.
Would that how they would do it, is they would prorate, would they prorate it, is that how would they do it, or?
It's up to your council.
It's up to the council, but.
But I remember that council meeting from the SRO officer. It was, it's a small portion that's paid by the city. It's not, the school system paid what they could, from what I understood, to those officers. Do you remember that?
The history that I think I remember on this is that Russ Tussey was our school resource officer for multiple years. I believe it was Chief Van Balen, but I'm not positive, it might have been Rayburn, decided to go ahead and take that out of the system because our manpower just didn't allow us to do it anymore. When Mr. Brimberry was a superintendent and we were having those tragedies, he asked to start having school resource officers again. And it may have been a short time before that, but I know that Mayor Walker at that time asked, he debated on hiring a 30th officer, but in lieu of that, he asked the schools if they would go ahead and the schools then wanted to have a school resource officer in every building, so he decided that he would go ahead as a city and pitch in the amount of money that it costs to hire a school resource officer for that given school year, rather than hiring an officer with the department, having them in the schools for 9 months and on the street for 3 months. So that's how I believe that whole 30,000 came to be, was to pay for one school resource officer. And that was back when they were, I won't call them security guards back then, but that's kind of what they were. They weren't full-fledged police officers. Now they are. Now they're their own police department, and that's kind of where it stands now at this point. So
that topic right there is why the city decided no longer to have one of its own officers, because of the liability standpoint from having the training and stuff necessary, and that's why the schools created their own police department. That was what, 2017?
I believe so, yes.
But the city still supports financially, though.
Yes.
Is that what that 30,000?
Yes,
We
we
make
do.
a contribution to it, yes.
Yeah.
It's what the school system needed to be able to provide it to each of the schools in for a school system.
Effectively sounds like it pays for one of the officers, right? And then the school system picks up the other buildings.
And without us actually providing the officer ourselves, limiting liability as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point that you have tax dollars that pay for certain services. So you have tax dollars that go to schools, you have tax dollars that go to the city, to the county, so that they can operate, and they're to operate within the tax dollars that are levied to each one of those entities. You could go through and find a list of intergovernmental agreements where, you know, I'll help you pay for this, you help pay for that. It's, as far as a taxpayer, I don't know how much of an impact it's really making on you, because it's both going to taxpayer-funded entities. But I take your point. It's a valid point. Is it, in my opinion, is it worth maybe damaging a relationship between the city and the school? I don't know. I think it's a goodwill gesture, if nothing else, and I don't know that if it's something that the school is counting on as part of their budget, then, you know, if we feel like those lines should be cleared up, and the council would feel that way, I think giving the schools at least a time to have a heads up to put that into their budget for another fiscal year and plan for that would be the least we would want to do. But it's a valid point. I mean,
just thinking fair-wise, okay, then if it's needed, it's needed. I mean, safety is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the police should be protecting the kids, but then when they get on school, then what's the responsibility? But, you know, I live in Mechanic-Wall. Let's give some money to Mechanic-Wall to help them protect their students, you know, taxpayer money.
Well, the
And
amount
if
of
it's prorated, then prorated, I guess.
The city is our concern right here. That's why we're here,
Right.
okay?
And
And what you're saying, we have no control over that.
over,
Well, you pay city taxes,
right?
and then the majority of us pay city of Peru Community Schools taxes. If you pay McConaughey taxes, then I would assume that they would take money out of that taxation to cover any potential problems out there. Yes, we pay
They do,
city,
but I mean-
we pay school taxes, but we also contribute a little extra to help on that particular thing. Everybody's limited on how much they can levy, and
Talk about that, and then,
if they're 30,000 short, then we found a way to be able to satisfy that request. And like Chief Meek said, we don't have it limits, the 30,000 is considerably cheaper than if we had to have another officer with perf and.
Well, it's just
And health insurance.
Did the school send you a request for the amount of money when we set up the budget?
That's something that we do every year, Tom. That same amount is in every year. It's
Yeah,
just
but-
kind of a housekeeping thing in January.
But do they submit the amount to us?
Yes,
Assume they
it's
do.
in your packet. I put a copy of the
Okay.
invoice in your packet. So they submit it, but it was my understanding that when this whole thing originally started, the council asked if it could be something that instead of us budgeting every year and going ahead and putting it in the budget, that because there's not a contract, it's more of a gentleman's agreement, that it be appropriated every year, come before you guys, and you get to make the decision every year whether you're going to continue to support it and appropriate it. That's why it's not in the budget, and that's why we have to appropriate it every year.
Okay.
Yeah. But they do send me, so the invoice that's in your packet now that came from the school, we're essentially paying in arrearage. So we're paying for the SRO officer for the school year of 2017, 2018.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
Anything further?
I'd like to finally make my statement to this man.
Go ahead.
Thanks. So, if there's a percentage of the people that live in the city that pay to McConaughey, if you were asking to say, well, let's take the amount of money that they would generally pay to Peru and spend it out there, you're probably talking in a year's amount of time, like $100 or something. It's probably very, very minute to help, right? So I get, it's like everybody else is saying, we get what you're asking.
Right, I don't know what the amount would be if you prorated.
I don't either.
Prorating, so.
But it probably wouldn't be very much, even if there was, even if there was a decision to make to say, okay, we're going to do that as well, and we're going to give a portion to McConaughey or a portion to North Miami as well, because those kids that live in the city that also go there. I don't know that there'd be a whole lot there to give,
I know the Y transfers 2 children, I believe, to North Miami every day and about 13 to McConaughey. That's just what we do. So I don't know how many parents actually physically take their children out to the schools, but that's what the Y that's what we use on our transit system.
But you may also have McConaughey kids that are coming in to Peru.
That's exactly
pay
right.
county taxes, no city taxes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have nieces that come in from North Miami District.
Yeah. So I think it probably balances out. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a couple hundred there.
It's moot.
Yes, sir. You had a question in the front row?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question. Shortly, we're going to have 2 more empty stores in Peru.
Can you, could you come up and identify yourself, please? We got people going to be on
Up
TV.
there?
Please.
Okay.
You're going to have people on TV and they want to hear what you have to say and yep.
I didn't know I was going to be on TV.
Well,
See that big screen?
you're looking good. That way they can see
I'd
you.
have dressed differently.
With the
if I
bright
was
green, they
on
can see.
TV. Yeah, you want to know my name?
Please.
Mike Lund. That's nasty. I moved here in 1968. My grandmother came here in 1897, so my family's been here for a long time. And shortly, we're going to have 2 more empty stores in Peru. And that's going to go along with all the empty ones we already got. End of December of this year, Square D's moving out. 306 people unemployed.
Right.
I'm sure you're aware of the seriousness of this problem.
Yes.
What I want to know is, do you have any ideas? I'm open to anything.
Right.
Anything. I've watched this town go down since 1968. And I keep wondering, what's going to be the next thing that puts it down? I already know that Miami County is the second poorest county in the state of Indiana.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Everything I've read says that. I don't know for fact either, but, you know, that's what I've read. What are we going to do? You got some ideas?
Yeah. And I don't know if we want to take up the entire time we have left here with this, but it is very serious, and it's not something that lends itself to a quick little quip of this is what we're going to do. So
But what's the foundation?
the foundation and
What are you going to build on?
okay, so first of all, and what people need to realize is that your government doesn't start private companies. So we can't decide, well, we want this store to come here. We can't decide, we want Target to come here, so we're going to call Target and tell them to come and fill in the store. It's not how capitalism works. Capitalism works with private industry and private corporations and citizens looking at a market and looking at business opportunities and coming into that. So what we do as the city and as government is we try to make sure that we have the best infrastructure, the best education, which kind of go back to that SR question. We want to make sure that we have amenities that will draw people. We want to make sure people are safe, and that when employers come here to find employees, that we have a well-educated, healthy employee base for them to draw from. And so that's the majority of what we can do in government. And there's 1,000 other things that we can do to try to nibble away at the edges of that, but there's not really satisfying, this is what we're going to do. And this one thing, and it's solved. If somebody, wait, Mike, if somebody gives you that answer, they don't know what they're talking about. Because there is no simple answers to this. It's hard. We're all going to have to roll up our sleeves. We're all going to have to take a big bite of a poop pie here, because this is bad. But to say that there's a simple, like, oh, I'm going to tell you off the top of my head, off the cuff, in a city council meeting, what we're going to do to fix all of our problems. If it was that easy, it would have been done a generation ago. So, I mean, let's not belittle it.
Reach out to these people?
Yeah. Yes.
We've got people talking to people and
Yes.
saying, hey, we got this factory over here. We got people that work. Why don't you come in here?
Every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's certain things in this town, I mean, we've got the lowest housing prices in anywhere around us, within 70 miles around us. Way far the lowest housing prices. It would seem to me that could we draw people from some of these places that are paying these ridiculous amounts for housings and stuff, if we had a place where they could come and work?
So there's a multitude of things I want to point out here. First of all, like when you talk about, is there a way that we can draw these people in here? We're doing things, and it's frustrating because when you talk about things like the trail expansion, so we just got a $250,000 DNR grant to expand the trails, you say, well, that's not employing anybody. Nobody's getting employed because they can walk the trail. But that is the kind of stuff that we can actually do as a city to incentivize people to come here, to incentivize people to want to live here. So we can do these things. That's what I'm talking about, kind of nibbling around at the edges of this problem. We can support our schools. We can support our police department. We can make this a safe place. We can have safe streets and low crime. The YMCA, the city just committed to $2.5 million to the YMCA project. YMCA projects are economic development. If you look at what they've done in other communities after they built a new YMCA, that's been a huge economic boom to those communities. People look at things like that and they don't say, well, but how many people is that employing? we can only employ 120, I think, employees in the city. I mean, that's what I do for employment. That's what the council and the city does for employment, is we have city employees. Everything else that we're doing is pushing the margins. And people that want to promise you a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, they're just grifters. So, I mean, I am more than welcome, anybody that wants to have a conversation with me about any ideas what to do that we haven't discussed before. But to say that we're not doing anything, or that there isn't people out there, that's not true.
No, I wasn't criticizing, I was just asking if
Right.
there was. I didn't know.
Well, and we do-
To me, time is not on our side. We can't be in this position 5 years from now. There's not going to be anything here if we are. Something has to change, and it has to change fairly quickly.
Well, the problem is things are changing. Things are changing very quickly, and we're trying to keep up with the changes that are happening globally, Midwest, the state, and locally. So it's not the problem that we're not changing, it's that things are changing very quickly, and we have to figure out those changes, and we have to figure out how to leverage changes, because the solutions of tomorrow aren't going to be going back to what happened 20 years ago and saying, hey, let's do that again. We have to be coming up with new ideas. And the things like the trail expansion, the new YMCA, the property that we purchased over there, there was the old CSX property. We want to develop that into new housing that will incentivize people to want to live in our community, because we have nice new housing along the river. When people do that, they're going to take their kids to the Peru schools. The Peru schools will get extra money from the state because of the extra tuition from people coming in there. So by doing things like that to incentivize housing, just like you said, we've got the lowest price houses around. I don't know that we're the lowest in 70 miles. I know that you're right. We have very low prices on homes. But it's a lot of inventory problems that we have on that issue. We need to have more newer built homes, because we do have a demand for nice homes, but they got to be nice homes. And if we incentivize to get new nice homes built, they will be sold, and that will help solve that problem. So we have a lot of empty lots now from old homes that we've torn down and demolished that needed to go. They were a safety hazard. They were a haven for crimes and for drugs. And now that they're empty and we have empty lots, we've been talking to developers. They're interested in purchasing multiple empty lots to build brand new spec homes in town. They'll also help our utilities too, because as we fill in their grid of users, that makes everybody else's the overall overhead of the utilities goes down as you have more users within a concentrated area. So we can go on and on for days about things that we are doing. I don't have that list ready for you right here, right now. But I would say that you look at YMCA, look at the trail extension, look at how we're using property acquired along the Wabash River with great views, with bald eagles nesting along it. Those are places that people want to build and they want to invest in. So we are trying to till the ground for other people to sow the plants. And all we can do is till the ground. Somebody else has got to come in and plant those seeds. But we're going to do the best we can to make sure that that soil is ready for them.
Well, the only suggestion I have, that's all, that sounds nice, but green energy is coming. We got empty factories. Why can't we get them building solar panels here?
It's too expensive to build solar panels in the United States. They build them much cheaper overseas. That's the problem.
What you're talking about is China.
If you remember, President Obama gave Solyndra or somebody $10 billion to build this factory.
They went out of business.
And they went out of business.
Well,
Because you can't-
there's a couple
because you can't-
that are in business.
But you can't build them.
And I'm just thinking that this would be, and why can't you build them here as cheaply as you can? Our labor costs can't be that high here. And China, when you talk about China, you have to talk about them shipping the product from China here.
I understand.
Which is extremely expensive as the price of fuel oil goes up.
Same reason we don't have any flat panel TV manufacturers in the United States either.
Well, we have one.
Yeah, but we
don't know if it's still in business or not.
Same reason GM's closing, 4 or 5 manufacturing facilities. Same reason Pontiac's gone out of business, Oldsmobile's out of business, Plymouth's out of business. Things change.
Yeah, they change.
Yeah.
But they can change for the good. It's not always for the bad.
No, it's not.
And that's what I'm saying. That's
Right.
that's what I want to say. That's all I want to say.
I would like to let you know that we do have our economic development. That's their main job, is to go out and try to find people to come, bring their factories here, their
The only
businesses.
thing I'm saying is.
And they also support those that are
Stay with
here.
who you're talking to. Go to everybody.
And that's what they do. That's what they do. So we are trying.
Well, thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Anything else?
Yeah, years ago, I have a lady friend that she used to live in Peru, moved to Wabash. And there was a gal over there, and all she wanted, at the time they didn't have a Bob Evans. So everywhere she went, she would, what suggestion box they'd have, why don't we have a Bob Evans in Wabash? And she did this all over. She got, every time women, friends, they traveled, they would drop that in the comment box all the time. So eventually, that woman was responsible, along with a lot of other people, getting a Bob Evans in Wabash. I can remember, I can go back further, I can remember when Peru was right there, Wabash was nothing. Rochester wasn't too much at the time. Logansport wasn't all that much. And
I
I'm
moved
sorry-
here in '68, Wabash was a dump, and so was Logansport.
That's right.
Peru was the diamond between the three.
That's right. You're absolutely right. You're going back. I graduated from high school in 1951. And back then, our kids used to joke about, well, we're going to end up be the suburbs of Kokomo. Well, there was a donut shop that we used to double date a lot. They come up with those yeast donuts. Was unheard of way back then. And we'd go over there, and I put on about 10 pounds, so I knocked that off. But people have to go when they eat out, talk Peru up. It does help. It does help. And I fill suggestion boxes and comment on that. Because I'm like you. I can remember way back when we were right there on top.
Yep.
And of course, Wabash was first to have the lighting, electric lighting. And in the nation, I think, at the time. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Was your relation to Reverend Lynn used to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say distant.
Yeah. Jim and I
No, he was
graduated.
my cousin.
Yeah, Jim and I graduated together. Yeah, I can, like you say, I remember their mothers and everything. Yeah, I can remember the Lunds very, very well.
Been here a long time.
That's right. Good people. But that's what we need to do, is talk Peru up as much as we can everywhere we go. And it don't hurt to put those, if you're down the windows, it don't hurt to stick one of those, we'd like to have a Bob Evans or something there.
Yeah.
Where are you from? I'm from the circus capital of the world, Cole Porter's birthplace. We have a lot going in our town. That's what I tell everybody wherever I go. I love this town. I was born and raised here. I'm 76 years old. I was gone a short time going to college and a short time on the road. The rest of my life's been here. I owe this town my life. It's a great town. A great town. We've traveled to New Orleans to play down there. Where are you from? Peru, Indiana. Well, where's that? And you explain to them where it's at and what we got going on. Everybody needs to do that lives here. You want to know what to do? That's what we've got to do.
Right.
Yeah.
My brother was in boot camp, San Diego, California, and his drill instructor, of course, he was in a foxhole getting ready to throw a grenade out of there, and he screwed that up. So the drill instructor said, "What's wrong with you?" He said, where are you from?" "Peru, Indiana, sir." "Holy crap, you're from Clown Town?"
Yeah.
Drill instructor, San Diego, California, from California area, knew about Peru, Indiana. All right, so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. To think that the problems that we face here in Peru are any different than the problems that every small town in the entire Midwest is facing. If you're in a small town that hasn't lost a major manufacturer, wait, your turn's coming. This is something that we're all figuring out. This is something that was started with globalization and with free trade, and is an expanding effect that's rippling out and ripples out every day more and more. Now, this plant's going down to Texas, so it's well.
It's going, they say in the paper it's going to Texas.
Right.
It's going to Mexico is where it's going.
Yeah.
Because they tried the Texas plant before and they found out their quality down there was so poor, they had to bring them back up here to Peru. That's why this Peru plant stayed open the last 5 years. Because now I evidently, it said in the paper, Texas, I guarantee you 90% of those jobs are going to Mexico.
Right, and I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that what we're facing in Peru is what we're facing in the Midwest. And there's no magic bullet. And, we're trying to do everything we can in every aspect we can. But like Tom said, being positive and being proud of this town and what we are doing, and not just saying, that's typical Peru, because it's not. When I go around and I deal with companies in Peru, and people in Peru, and the volunteers, I'm dealing with positive people who roll up their sleeves and start new businesses and volunteer and put real work and effort into making a lot of community things go that make us all proud to be here, just like the circus. So, I mean, we can howl at the moon about what's going on, or we can roll up our sleeves and get busy.
Who bought that Cole Porter house?
I don't know.
Really, somebody from the city ought to send him a letter and say, hey, can you paint the son of a bitch, please?
They're going
Really?
to. They're going to.
When?
Well, they
He
have
put a
actually,
nice fence up.
It's their
they've
money.
actually
They'll spend it
painted
when they
it
want.
twice. They've actually painted it twice since they fixed it. Jim and Dick Schaffhausen painted it first time, it's been painted the second time, it just does not hold the paint. So it's gotta be, you gotta have something else put on the siding, because it just will not hold the paint.
They're not got the proper primer or some reason on there why that paint peels off like that. That paint peeled off there in
Yeah, it did.
less than 2 years after they painted it the last time.
This kid bought that 2 months ago. He's only owned it like 2 months.
Well, I didn't know. I just heard it got sold. I didn't know.
Well,
He's also bringing business to this town.
Right.
Needs to paint it.
let's go get some supper.
Maybe he's doing
I agree.
Oh,
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
I thought about going by there.
Anything further?
Buy the paint, I'll paint it.
Terry, I think you had a motion to adjourn, is that correct?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here.